Hello and welcome to our podcast, The Caucacity. We're your co-hosts. Hi, my name is Nthenya from Kenya.
I'm Yang, like bang, bang, bang. The Caucacity is our weekly podcast about Caucasian audacity. We love to hate it, we hate to love it. We are two women of color in the LA comedy scene grappling with our cultures and identities.
Come along as we tackle and call out white culture, black culture, Korean culture, culture, the positives, the negatives, and everything in between. Caucasus.
In the parking lot.
Caucasus.
In the grocery store.
Caucasus.
On the internet.
Do. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Hi. I am so excited to continue our conversation about Nthenya's immigration story, which is pretty wild.
Yeah.
I figure you've been all around North America. Not just the country, you guys, the continent.
The continent. Well, sort of. Canada and the United States of America. Yes.
All the important places.
Oh.
I
Mexico.
Oh, whoops. No, you guys are just as important.
Shots fired at Mexico.
You haven't been to Mexico? Yeah, I thought you've been to Mexico.
I've been to Mexico. I didn't live there, though.
Okay, but you've been to all of the cultural hubs.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's get back to it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where we were at.
You were telling us about moving to the South from Canada.
From Canada. Okay. So
what's the demographic? What is the demographic of
in Canada?
Where you moved to, Charleston?
Oh, I mean, I can't say specifically what the numbers are, and I probably should. I know right now that the city itself is about 250,000 people. I can't say exactly like what percentage is black and white, but I'd say that you would see both, very often.
50-50? Is that what it felt like?
Possibly. I mean, maybe I'd say 60% white and 40% black.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'd probably say still a minority, maybe even less, maybe. Yes, I should probably look this up. But
I mean, it's more about like your experience of it.
There was, I think the difference is when we lived in Canada, there was sort of like, there's this global phenomenon of America, right? So you're really excited to move to America, period. Everyone, like, they threw us a party like, oh my God, you're going to America. And America was such a blanket place, like no one was specific about, like, we moved to South Carolina, but all of my friends were like, oh my gosh, like Beyonce's there and, like Michael Jordan. And it's just like the idea of America was so much bigger than it was.
It's like Disneyland.
It didn't matter. Like we could have been moving to, the middle of Arkansas, but people in Canada were just like, oh my God, but
it's America.
Yeah. Beyonce will be there, I think.
Yeah.
So there was that excitement. And then getting there, it's not that I hadn't experienced racism in Canada, because I actually had, because I mean, racism is everywhere. But there was such a profound difference in the response to it. And such a different, like, socioeconomic, like, I felt like in Canada, you could be a doctor and experience racism, and you could be, like a doctor experience racism from like another doctor, and it doesn't really affect their lives. It just affected that moment, right?
Okay.
Whereas in South Carolina, it felt like that racism had an effect on people's day-to-day lives and like the careers they could have and the job, like it had such a strong socioeconomic hold, like the racism, that's what the difference was to me, was acknowledging that, the opportunities are limited for people of color here.
Systemic.
Yeah.
There's
and
huge
not just like, you're a black person, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it didn't feel random to a family, whereas like it felt like that in Canada sometimes. It's like, oh, this family, they're unaware, or whatever the lies are that we say about a racist family. Whereas in South Carolina it felt more pervasive.
Yeah. I think that's the part where you're kind of like, oh, like, let me give you a teaching moment. And they're like, no, we know. we just choose to stay this way. And you're like,
yeah.
this is scary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Charleston is a really big food town. So, I mean, one of the first things you'll notice is a lot of the front of house workers are white, and all the back of house are people of color. Like just though that in itself, it's like clear as day.
Yeah, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's also why it's so annoying when, you know, everybody's like, do you see everything under a lens of race or, you know, things being racialized? And I was like, I don't. America has created the system in which we just participate in. And I can't, when you see it, you can't unsee it. So, like, we're just living in this thing where I'm like, depending on what color you got, you're going to be standing somewhere different. And people are like, it's not about that. That's just so. And I'm like, it didn't have to be, but.
Yeah.
And so then you're how old when you're in the South?
I moved from middle school. So I was 10.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, so I went through middle school and high school in South Carolina.
Formative ages.
Formative ages, yeah. Actually,
Puberty
it's funny.
is happening.
Puberty is happening. A lot of my friends actually have this argument about it because they're like, then you're not really from Canada. But there was such a sense of who I was. I was forced into an identity at 10 that I still think I'm carrying a lot of because I was so other. Like, not only was I, like, I represented so many contradictory things to people in South Carolina that I felt like I was forced to have an identity like right then and there. And that was going to be like, that was my choice. I had to make it then. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They were kind of like,
So
explain yourself.
Explain yourself. Yeah. It's like, oh, you're African. Oh, you're not an African booty scratcher. Oh, you grew up in Canada. Oh, you know what I mean? So there was like this quick, there was this really fast way in which I had to form who I was and not stray from that. So even when my friends were like, that I went to high school with, that I call like my childhood best friends, they're like, you grew up with us. And I was like, yes, but really on the outside. I was never really accepted. I was always forced to identify myself. Like, why are you, because there was nobody else in our community really like us. There was a couple other African families, also in academia. Duh.
Yeah, and also an opportunity not to identify as American, take it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be like, I'm an American. I'll be like, I'm always like Korean American.
Yeah.
You know? Whisper the American part.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, America's tricky. Anyways. Yeah. So America was interesting moving, but it's so complicated to talk about South Carolina because it's a beautiful place and my husband's from there. And the people are really beautiful there. So it's so hard to say that it's this or that. Like, there is racism there for sure. There's a lot of systemic things that keep, or, you know, like laws in place and systems in place that keep underprivileged people down. But there's also like a beautifulness to it. There is like the Southern hospitality and the charm of it. I don't know how to describe it except for you just have to go, and it is eerie.
Yeah, I think
but it's also really beautiful. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like it's like the kind of the white people who, if you were on the side of the road, will help you pull over, but then also might call you a racial slur. Right? You're like, okay, nobody else pulled over. Thank you so much.
These fine N-words need some help. Like that?
Yeah, like that. And then you're like, thank you. Well, you know, Barack Obama talks about that with how he was meeting his constituents, and one of them like shook his hand and was like, "You're a good N-word, and I'm going to vote for you." And he was like, "Thank you for your vote."
Yeah, it's like, yikes.
And that's the South, I think.
Supportive, problematic.
And then, it's not even just that's Charleston, kind of, right? And that's just like your personal experience. Yeah. And then you go to college. Where do you go to college?
Well, and one thing about Charleston is it is a very democratic city. So it's a blue dot in a red state is sort of how everybody talks about it. So it's the most, it's the Austin of South Carolina.
Okay. They think they're progressive.
Arts, culture, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of movies have been filmed there. Yeah. But yes, then I went to college. I went to the University of Miami in Florida. Go Canes.
Your story about Miami is, I am excited to go there. I want to go with you.
Yeah.
Just because it seems like so much fun and craziness. And I also think it's funny to see the academic version of you go into like this world of being like, Nthenya with her backpack on, excited to go to school. And then it's like, oomph, oomph, oomph.
And then Nthenya in the club.
Driving it low. Yeah. I like how you were like, ready to go to school. I'm gonna, and then I feel like you got pushed, enthralled into this world of like, just, it's like a hub. I heard nightlife,
South Beach. I mean, I went there knowing that existed, of course. I wasn't delusional in that way, but I went with sort of the intention of getting my schoolwork done and having opportunities to go out with my friends. But I really thought that there would be more campus parties and things. But because it was in South Beach, there were a lot more people going out to the clubs.
like real adult life, nightlife.
Yeah, like real adult nightlife.
Not like beer pong, but like Coke, like yeah. I love that.
Like Coke and drive-bys, and you're just like, okay, this is an adult evening. Yeah, like at strip clubs, King of Diamonds, definitely. Like you're just like, it's a Tuesday.
And you're throwing some money on a stripper's butt.
And you're just like, and here I am at King of Diamonds. This is ridiculous.
King of Diamonds, that's like the really famous.
That's one of them, yeah. King of Diamonds, Tootsie's. They're escaping me now.
You took me to my first strip club.
Oh, that was the first time?
First time.
Wow.
And
that's not even a real strip club.
I know.
I took her to a fake strip club. Okay, it's not fake, but it's more of like a burlesque feel. It's called Jumbo's Clown Room. It's here it's Jumbo's Clown Room. It's here in Los Angeles. It's a cool, fun place to go with your girlfriends, with your boyfriends, with your friends.
I think it was the right strip club to take me to as my first one, because even though I know that the world of sex work is very complicated, which I will not speak on, but I still have that very old-timey thought process, which is like first wave feminism, where I see all these women who are exposing themselves and I immediately want to be like, here's a jacket, I'll save you. Like, where I'm like, I'm going to save all of you women and we're going to start a school together. Like, I was afraid that I'd feel that icky feeling of like, all these women are being exploited. At Jumbo's Clown Room, I'm like, they could be exploited a little bit more. I was like, here's the thing.
We could see more of you ladies. And I'm just kidding.
I'm like, okay. I was ready to see all these like tragic strippers living their lives to save up enough money for their kids to go to college or something.
Oh my God.
That. I just think
That's
watched.
so Caucasious of you.
I know.
To go to a strip club and think you're gonna save a hoe? What? She's at her job.
I know. Okay, I get it. They're empowered women. They're a lot more empowered than I am. Okay, first of all, they could hurt me. They're very strong physically. Physically, they're extremely strong.
Yeah.
Also, just mentally and everything about them. I was like, I don't even know why I thought that, because I was like, all of these women, I'm pretty sure, are smarter than me. Yeah, more capable than me in every single way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and it was an exciting. Anyway, thank you for taking me to a strip club.
She walks in with $40 thinking she's gonna save.
Like, you know what? You take this and you buy your meals, okay? For the rest of the month. Actually, for the rest of the year, okay? And everybody's like, okay,
I'm gonna find a way. You're a GoFundMe girl.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna start. Also, okay, I watched an op-ed on, I think, Vice, and this woman who I think it was called the Kings of the one you were talking about, the strip club.
King of Diamonds?
King of Diamonds. It was like the most famous strip club, but it got like they had to go to court. It was like a whole court case happened and they had to shut down at one point. Anyway, the woman who was a stripper there, the top stripper,
Mm-hmm.
made like $600,000 a year in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man alive. You know, you just
like,
think
wrong career choice.
wrong career choice.
Yeah.
I was like,
Honestly and truly.
I'd obviously have to invest in some things, but I mean, still $600,000. You could just do that for like 3-4 years, get out of the game.
Hell yeah. Oh my God. Totally.
Oh my God.
I lived with a stripper very temporarily, very shortly. She worked at Tootsie's. She made close to $4,000, maybe over $4,000 a day.
Oh, mic drop moment.
Mic drop. $4,000 a day. And I'd ask this lovely, beautiful woman, what's going on? Where is this money going? Where's this money going? It was going to her pimp.
Oh,
Girl,
no.
we had to get him away from her. She moved in with me, and I literally thought to myself, maybe I should be a pimp. Maybe.
Immediately the moment you said that, I was like, then yeah, this is the business that we need.
Yeah. No, honestly, I mean, I took her in. This is very Caucasian of me too. Be like, all right, girl,
I'll protect you.
I got you. I don't even know what you're up against. But I was like,
it could be a whole gang of people. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I don't know who this pimp is. I mean, I know one, but I don't know if there's a network. Like, do they work in teams? What's going on? I don't even know.
Like, it's okay.
I said, no, it's fine. You can come live with me. We'll take care of you. We'd drive her to work. We'd drive her to the club. She would dance. She'd come home. We'd put that money in an account. And I never even took any money from her. Isn't that crazy? She'd cook, though. She'd cook and she'd clean. She loved to cook and clean. I was like, girl, go off.
Wait, you let her stay with you for free?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That is so crazy.
I know.
That is very nice.
We never even hooked up or anything.
Wow. You're like, I deserve something for my time.
Honestly, in retrospect, I could have used a blowjob, and
you're pretty good at it, I heard. I think that's what they're supposed to be.
I'm just kidding, girl. I don't want a blowjob. I'm glad you're happy and safe.
Yeah. And
away from that guy, because trouble.
I'm rethinking my life choices.
Oh yeah. But
it's also so hard because even now I'm like, I don't even have that option now because the game is so, there's too many people in the game. It's kind of like when people are like, oh, I want to be an influencer. It's like, if you want to even, I don't even have the opportunity to sell out anymore. That's where we're at.
There's too many people selling out. There's too many.
They've normalized it too much.
Yeah.
Should we switch to our next topic?
Yeah.
Which is my immigration story, which is not an immigration story.
Oh.
You guys, I'm second generation. I know.
Is that what it is?
I looked it up.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah. And which also is, I'm like, ugh. Second generation is basically, I'm one generation of white privilege. Like, you know what I mean? I'm basically there. I'm there.
Yeah.
One after me, they're not gonna even have a homeland, thoughts of a homeland.
Right.
They're just,
especially not after you.
Yeah. Especially and also, like, I'm gonna name I keep telling Michael, I was like, I want to name my kid
something Korean.
Something Korean.
Oh my God.
I want it to be super Korean. I want it to be
those.
I want to be super Korean.
Oh my God.
I want it to be like Yeonji or Yujong or something. And so then they're gonna be like, what? But then
you're gonna make him pronounce it.
Yeah.
With your Korean?
Her name's for sure not gonna be Claire. I'm gonna be that's for sure. It's not gonna be Claire. That's for sure. I'll make sure that doesn't happen. Or I'll do with
Claire on the list.
No, I just feel like it's like a very so. You know how there's all these names like Kira or Callie, and it's like all the white girl names of this century, or like now it's like Jake, and then you could tell what generation they're from, and they're all like And so, but then there's Koreans, second generation like me. What are our names? Old white lady names, right? Like Arlene. My first name's Eileen. My sister's name is Esther. You know, they have all these weird. So that's when you can identify that we're like second generation.
Yeah.
But I'm afraid once we get to third generation, I'm going to name her like Blue or something. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna.
You finally caught up with the millennials with Beyonce. With
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah, Blue. It's just these names. I'm kind of like, okay, this is okay. But so my story. I didn't immigrate here. My parents did.
Mm-hmm.
And they would do this thing where they would come to America to pop out babies. We were anchor babies. So my mom, once she found out she was pregnant, she'd get all of her medical care in Korea. And then once it was time to push, she hopped on a plane to LAX and then popped out the baby and then went back to Korea. And then dropped us off to come back to America and work.
So she dropped you off in Korea, though.
Dropped us off in Korea, yeah. And so in the first 2 years of my life, I don't think I interacted with her very much. I don't hold it against her. I don't remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Nor will my children when I do it to them.
Okay.
So no hard feelings.
Yeah.
Nor should my future children have feelings about it either. And
but wait, how long were y'all in South Korea for then? Before you guys all came over?
I think I was.
Or was this just your sisters and you were always here?
Oh no, this is all of us.
Oh, okay.
She would push, go back to Korea.
Yeah. You know, like they made laws because of people like your mom.
Oh yeah, I know. They're called anchor babies. Trump tried to kick us all out. He didn't think that we had real citizenship.
Yeah.
And I was like,
did you feel threatened by that?
No. Oh no. I was just kind of like,
you were like, nah, that's what she did.
That's what she did. She just was like, their immigration policies are crazy. Let me take advantage of it. No, I feel like if you're gonna what's it called? If you're gonna brand yourself as a country that like takes in immigrants, then you better.
You had it coming.
Yeah. I was like, I'm sorry, but you invited us.
You invited.
So
I got my invitation. So.
Yeah. But if I was deported at this point, I would be like, deport me. I'd love to go on CNN.
You just said last week.
Yeah. I would love to have an op-ed somewhere about.
Let's fast track this celebrity.
Yeah.
Okay, so popped y'all out, took y'all back to South Korea, came back over here.
Yes. And then moved to Colorado. And we.
But what age?
I'm 3.
Okay. So do you remember anything about South Korea?
No.
None of it.
I barely remember 3, 4, 5.
She's like, I don't remember yesterday, girl.
A little bit. I'm like, the 20s are a blur at this point. The teens, that's hard too.
Dementia. We've got it.
I have dementia and ADHD. We're
doing great.
I'm doing really good.
Okay, so you don't remember it. All you remember is Denver.
Yeah, we moved to a hotel, like a motel. It's called For You Motel.
Okay.
And we lived in a van for a little bit.
Not in the motel.
Not in the motel. Okay. But my grandmother sent them with money, or like they were waiting for like money from her to start a business. So then we lived in this van for just a little while, and then then we got a room in the motel, and then they bought the motel.
Oh wow! Yeah. What an upgrade!
What an upgrade!
From a van to the motel room to the whole motel was yours.
Whole motel, and that was because my
grandma, big bucks.
She's like a crazy OG. She had survived the war, and they went from like famine, like when they talk about the stories of what they went through, it's so tragic. I don't really like to listen to it. It makes me feel icky. So I'm kind of like, okay, can we change the topic? And then,
You're like,
so,
it's not cute to have suffered.
yeah, I'm like, it's really not good for the vibes here, you know? As a second generation American, we really care about the vibes. And so she had created like a spa or some sort of business in Korea, and it did really well. And there was just like this weird thing that with my mom about having to prove her loyalty to the family. So they were like, you want to go to America and I want you guys to work really hard. So even every time she popped us out and dropped, she went back to the States to clean buildings and stuff. She would take on all these jobs and then she'd report back to my grandma, her mother-in-law, to like be like, okay, I want 50% of your wages. And so my mom would do that. My thing is, it's weird because like we all think of my grandma as this matriarchal woman, and my mom sees this woman as the devil.
Yeah. This woman that controlled her life.
Yeah. And she was like abusive towards my mom.
Yeah.
And that's like a stereotypical thing that happens in South Korea. It's
the
terrible.
Mother-in-law like takes advantage of the daughter-in-law.
Yeah. And like the whole time they'll like, you know, be like, grade their food all the time. They'll always like criticize everything they're doing and being like, are you making my son happy? All that stuff. And so then this is what happened. So then we live in the motel and we live in like it's shaped like a U. It's right. It's called 4U Motel, and in the center is where we lived, which is where you check in the guests and like do all the things. And I was left alone there a lot, and my mom would just clean the rooms around this U, and she'd just be like, stay in the middle, and if anybody comes, you come grab me. And I'd be like, okay. And my sisters would go to school, and they would. And then
you were 3.
I was 3, and I would just do wild shit. I would watch television by myself. We had HBO because it's a motel, so I was watching HBO at the age of 3, like learning lots of things. Nobody was really watching me, you know?
Yeah.
And so then at a certain point,
this is where she blames her dementia.
Yeah. My mom would also tell me that one time she lost me.
In the hotel? In the motel? Sorry.
In the motel. We didn't, but so she put a police but this is the funny part. I'm a missing child. They called the police.
Okay.
Then somebody says, hey, can we get a room? And then my mom's like, well, let's not turn down business at this time. She still does the transaction, gives them the key, and is like, here you go. But we have to go talk to the police. And they're like, we understand. We could have come back later. And they're like, no, it's okay. Please give me your money. Please.
Yeah, she was like, actually, let me make sure this sale goes through.
Yeah. Does the sale. They go into the room. I'm sleeping in the room.
They get that same room?
That same room.
And the cops are like downstairs.
Yeah, they're like, hey.
They're like, actually, the child is in here. Is this a setup?
Yeah. And my mom was like, that's my child.
They thought this was a setup. Those people thought they were going to jail. They're like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
They're like, it wasn't us.
Yeah.
She was in here when we got here. We didn't touch her. My God.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, they did touch me.
You're like winking at your mom.
Got this in the bag. My mom would be the one. That would be
if
good.
only your mom knew that could have been an option. You know, you would have really.
and then we wouldn't have to be wondering about being a stripper. I would have gotten cat. You
would have, extorting. You would have been cast?
No, I was just saying I was going to get cash from this lawsuit. Is what I was going to say.
Yeah, you would have gotten money.
I would have gotten money, but no.
You would have been in all the articles. People, 2020, Dateline. Dateline would have a whole section of Made It Alive just for you.
It would also have been controversial because...
Survived. That's what Dateline needs. They need a segment called Survived because, good God, everybody on that thing dies. They really do. It's really troubling.
I don't watch Dateline enough to know that they... Honestly,
I watch way too much Dateline. It puts me to sleep.
I love that about you. It is a very Caucasian thing. I love it. The amount of true crime. Or do you not? It's not true crime. Is it true crime?
It is true. These are true stories. Okay, yeah.
I can't get into it. I can only get into it if you were to tell me a story I can listen to it, but I can't watch it on TV.
Okay. So what you're saying is I should retell these tales.
Yeah, we should do
Okay.
we're gonna rebrand this as a true crime
It's a
podcast.
true crime, yeah. This is what actually happened. See, what really happened was.
Yeah. Because the way you talk about it, I'm like, oh, I'm hearing gossip right now. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do make it fun because
Yeah.
it is. These white people are out of control.
It is crazy.
Out there in the sticks. Oh my God. Mm.
And the way that the story shifts and turns.
I know. And then it's always like 20 years later, they run the prints and it's like the man down the street. And it's like, y'all, he was a convicted felon already. At the time, he was already touching kids, huh?
And then he's like, no,
it takes
friend
time.
Paul.
Right. It takes a minute. And that's nice. Sometimes watching somebody like full circle something, you're like, wow.
And then also you see a picture of them and you're like, yeah, I would have picked that up. Because they're always like, and you're like, yeah, that guy was the guilty one. I could have told you a while ago.
Yeah. Dateline.
So yeah,
Nostalgic.
and then that was it. Pretty much I grew up in the States. I was a really weird kid. My mom knew that immediately and it was really troublesome. And yeah, pretty much.
So wait, okay. Just real quick. At the motel that you guys had, the cops come, they find you, everything is fine. Like you don't get in trouble.
Don't get in
Mom,
trouble.
Nothing. Okay.
Nothing happens.
Okay, great. Then how long did y'all have the motel for?
Until I think I were 10.
Okay.
But
So
we
a good while.
Yeah, we didn't stay there the whole time. We moved to a nice house when I was like 7 or 8. And it was super
Big ballin'.
But the thing with immigrants is that you get a really nice house and you put all of your family in it. So
What do you mean? There's only 5 of y'all.
well, no, then we got
your in-laws came?
It-
Your mother's in-laws came?
them, and then my mom's
Parents?
sister,
Oh.
my mom's brother, and
Oh.
their kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
Full house.
So there's 3 families,
Mm-hmm.
one house, nice house in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
White people did not like it.
Yeah.
They were like, how many people live here? And I was like, it depends on the season, because then we also had more family coming. Yeah. Yeah. So that happened.
So did you share a room?
With my mom.
Oh yeah.
I confessed something to Nthenya where I slept with my parents for a really long time. Like embarrassingly
A
long.
shamefully long period of
Yeah,
time.
it was
How long is too long, you guys? This is too long, okay?
if I'm the same height as my mom, maybe too long. Let's get to the next topic. Anyway, I think we covered it all.
Yeah.
No more story here.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay, So
then after that, this is just me being nosy. After the motel, it was the black hair.
Oh, that didn't happen until I was 12 years old.
12,
13.
black hair.
Yeah, then my mom, so at this point we're owning a bunch of different businesses, right?
Oh, okay.
So my mom had a nail salon at one point in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
That was, and my aunt worked there. That was an experience in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that I also was like, this is so, that was a time where I was trying to teach my mom more English, because all the people that came in would get super pissed that they wouldn't speak English.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'm like,
you're like, I gotta teach her.
I was like, you cannot speak Korean. And she's just like, what? Everybody's Korean here. Like, this is not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So that kept being a thing. But then it was exciting that my mom owned a nail salon, because then we got our nails done.
Mm-hmm.
And then we owned another hotel, but this was in a rural area in Lyman, Colorado, and we would go there in the summers, and it was desolate, and we would spend our whole summers there and want to die. It sucked.
Yeah.
And then they owned what other? There were so many businesses that just went under. So many. At one point my dad was going to try to start an adult daycare that's for like the elderly.
Yeah.
We had a strip.
Not just somewhere to drop off a friend.
Yeah. I didn't know. This was the first time I ever heard of it. And we had a liquor store. Yeah. And adult daycare, those ones where you have the other, not just you and I go there. But we should also start that business. Yeah. 20s to 40s. Yeah, just like a rec center. Yeah, it was, that was that. And then finally at the age of 13, my mom and dad get introduced to this couple who owns a Black beauty supply in Colfax, Colorado. And that is when I'm introduced to a whole new world of like, I didn't even know that there were Black people in Colorado, I was like, well, I did, but then it wasn't like, but you know what I mean? It was,
I physically knew that they existed in the space. I just hadn't encountered any of them.
Well, mostly in the sense of like they're like a community of Black people.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I was like, that's when you start learning things about how racism works, where it's like certain like color lines in counties and why certain places are, there's a community of marginalized groups and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh, and it was confusing because I was like, why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Like we've owned a liquor store. We thought working a dry cleaning store. And those are still also questions. I was like, why do we own these things? Why do we own nail salons, dry cleanings, liquor stores, and Black beauty supply stores?
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I learned the history behind it, and it is terrible. As basically, I'm not going to get into the full history of it, but Korean Americans own a lot of these brick and mortar Black beauty supply stores because the products themselves are distributed by Koreans. And then they also figure out a way to monopolize in that market by only speaking Korean and monopolizing or weaponizing language so that nobody else can be part of said business. And it does start with the fact that we are only allowed to have these businesses or given business licenses only for these businesses in the US. So you can't do any other kinds of business unless whoever approves of it. How fun. What a great fun history moment. But yeah, and then I didn't learn about that until I got older. And yeah, it's been kind of one of those things where I've been trying to like educate my mom and my sisters about it. And they're like, well, what, they're like, well, it's not bad. And I was like, it's pretty bad. I was like, it's pretty bad. And they're like, well, what if there was like a Black person selling kimchi? That's not bad. And I was just like, well, we'd
have an opinion if a Black person was selling kimchi.
It would be.
As the producer, I wouldn't buy it.
Oh, wouldn't buy it.
Our producer
won't buy kimchi from a Black person. Now, let me tell you what. I'm going to make kimchi and Yang is going to make kimchi and we're going to see which one's better.
There's a marketing. Here's a brand. You and me and a package. There's a brand. Everybody's ready to buy it. But the thing is, I was like, I was like trying to explain to my sister. I was like, it would be okay. But I was like, this is where it gets bad. I was like, if that Black person said, I'm going to steal all of the Napa cabbage seeds so that nobody else can have Napa cabbage, that's when it becomes bad. And I was like, and that's what the Asian market has done. That's what the Korean market has done. They've made it so that only these distributors are Korean.
Yeah.
So I was like, but I also, it's also one of those things where I'm like, I thought about how I could participate in solving this. And then I realized I barely know how to finish reading a book. I started like being like, how do we even rectify this issue? And it's like, it would be taking down not just like the brick and mortars of the US, it would be taking down an industry in South Korea. It's overseas. Seoul kimchi sounds oh, Seoul kimchi. Okay, we can do it. Okay.
Seoul kimchi. Next week we're gonna have a little competition, but I think you're doing the work by a little bit. Okay, here's the thing: you're not fully doing the work, but you're doing some work by wanting to have these conversations with your parents and your direct family members, because that is a lot of what is like what we can do. We only have access to the people we have access to. So making a difference in them and making them aware is, priority one. Then maybe learning Korean, and then maybe
I was also thinking that. I was like, what if we had like a Korean learning center where everybody learns Korean?
Just everybody?
Just everybody.
So that we can all infiltrate this business?
Yeah. I was like, I need smarter people than me. But yeah, that was like the thing about growing up too, is that on the weekends I would work at this Black beauty supply, and on the weekdays I would go to the most Caucasian high school. I would go to the suburbs and everything like that, and so I was kind of living this life where I do two of these things. But no matter what, even though how young I was and I didn't educate myself, I knew it was weird, and I knew kind of it was weird. Like, it was not something I told my friends.
Oh, that y'all.
Yeah.
Ooh, now why? Do you think it was because you were Koreans owning a Black beauty supply, or like, do you think that was the stigma?
Yeah, or just like the questions around it. They'd be like, I remember telling some of my friends, and they're like, "Oh, we want to come to the beauty supply," and I'd be like, "No, you can't come."
Why? Did you think it was only for Black people?
Kind of, yeah. I was like, what would I'm not gonna bring my friend like Emily so that she can then start going in the aisles and start touching things that she shouldn't have no business touching. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And also, I just was like, yeah, there was like a weird thing of like, I don't even know how. I don't know.
White people are not supposed to be here.
Why not? White people are not supposed to be here.
They're not supposed to mix with these Black people.
Or not even not that. It's more just like, you guys are gonna be like, they live comfortable lives, And I was like, and then the Black beauty supply, it's it's not like a fancy store. There's not a real restroom. That's still a thing where it's like, the restroom's not up to date.
Oh, you had some shame around the space.
And so I was like, this is like some, and there's not like a place to really hang out there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and so that was like the weird part of all of it, where it was like, these are my two lives, and this isn't working at, Cold Stone Creamery. This isn't like I'm not like an ice cream scooper on the weekends. I'm doing something that doesn't feel like I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like, I'm kind of coming into that consciousness without any formal education. I can't imagine Sarah from Littleton, Colorado, having any idea of what's happening in this capacity.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I think that they also would think of it as wrong, but then I don't know. It was interesting. It was an interesting time. And I was like, what an experience to have at 13.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then that's also when I was just like, this isn't the privilege I thought that I was going to be adopting. This isn't the world that I thought my mom was trying to pay for me. But yeah, I was like, this is complicated.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like, thanks, Mom. Thanks for making our lives that much more complicated. And I don't think she realized how complicated it would be, because nobody expected me to become the cunt that I am and think about all the things and, want to know about all the things.
Yeah.
And then I think even my sisters are kind of like, you always make things so like annoying. Like you care and you think about all these things, and it's like, you just complain. Like, what are you going to actually do now that you know all of this? And I was like, I don't know. But yeah, that's the world. And that's pretty much the stories. And yeah. Then as I got older, I decided to join the military because all the businesses went under. That was fun.
But then y'all moved from Denver to Los Angeles.
Yeah, so when I went into the military, while I was in, they moved to LA.
Oh.
And that's the American
dream.
You
met them here.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know that part.
Yeah, I guess I didn't tell you that. Yeah.
Okay.
How fun.
What full circle?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is. I was like, this is the American dream, folks. You're looking at it.
Looking at it.
No, I think that's also why I have like a weird thing with everybody's like, you know how lucky we are to live in the US and like how lucky you are and da-da-da. There is, but there's also just so many things about growing up here that I was like, wasn't prepared for and introduced to so many things that is so inherently American, whether it's like these business practices or how every business, even the smallest mom and pop store, might be exploiting somebody because of how it is set up. And then only to then you grow up to lose everything. You know, let's keep it light, folks. I love America.
Keep it light, folks.
And I'm going to watch this back and be like, Nthenya, who's your friend? She's a little much. You need to recast your friend.
No.
Okay, but so that's
it.
my immigration story. And we're already at 46 minutes.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, what's next? Do.
So sometimes we like to dive into current events.
Okay.
But I, by no means am a journalist, but something that intrigued me this week is this tribe in the Amazon getting internet access.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, folks. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about this. All the headlines, okay, surrounding this story about this indigenous tribe in the Amazon getting access to internet goes like this. Indigenous tribe is addicted to porn. Amazon tribe obsessed with porn and with internet access. Porn and social media addicts. That's the coverage of this story.
Mm-hmm. It's important to note.
It's important to note. It is, but it was interesting enough for me to click on it because I was like, oh, this is sad.
You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like,
so they got you.
And then I clicked on him and then I was just like, wow, it was comical, I think, and eye-catching.
Right.
So then I was just like, this is what happens. Internet is bad. It's whatever. But then I read the whole New York Times article of who exposed them in the first place. And not every indigenous person in that tribe is addicted to porn. Okay. A lot of them are on their phones now and they're on social media and it's not great.
Yeah.
But it literally was like one sentence in the like 3,000 word article. And people have taken that one sentence and blown it up being like, these tribes are addicted to porn now. Don't give them internet. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
In the New York Times article title is The Internet's Final Frontier. Remote Amazon tribes. Elon Musk's Starlink has connected an isolated tribe to the outside world and divided it from within. And that's the part I want to talk about, is they divided it from within.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one person from the tribe who went outside, got a benefactor to help them get this internet.
Yeah.
And then they just dropped the internet and said bye. Okay. And I don't love how they did that because I feel like there was this white lady who was ready to save them. And they were like, I know I'm going to save them. I'm going to give them the internet.
Yeah.
And then chaos ensued. But I'm like, this is late stage capitalism. The kind of internet you're going to give them now isn't like the internet that we got when internet was coming.
Yeah. Like we got to grow up with the internet, whereas they're just like getting full fledged. Like they're getting Pornhub.
Yeah. You're getting viruses. I just imagine that like we'd go to the library and they would teach you how to use like the Dewey Decimal System or whatever research database. Yeah. And then you're going to just give them Google, which if you Google anything now, it's just like sponsored ad after sponsored ad.
Yeah.
So I feel like this was a bad thing. And I feel like what is the actual issue is like how it divided the tribe.
Yeah.
And I just imagine there was one guy who was like, no, we need technology. But that one person was like the Pocahontas of the tribe where they trusted a white person. And the whole tribe was like, you shouldn't have trusted that white person. And then that is the lesson. Boom.
What happened? Divide them from within.
Divide.
That's been the tactic all along. I mean, that's how, they keep these countries divided. But like, because even like they did that in Kenya. The colonialists will come and they'll be like, oh yes, we will give you this, and then of course somebody's like, okay, yeah, we do need that, and then there's half the people who agree,
Like,
and
don't
then
trust them,
don't trust them, right? Yeah, and then the other half were like, wait, but they gave us this thing, and it is a benefit to our community, and then yeah, it was a talking point. The porn in this situation is a talking point, and what's funny about it is what I wanted to know is, what are the women watching? Okay, what are these ladies, these isolated ladies, watching? My other thing is how inherently toxic are we, or not toxic? I don't know what's wrong with us that we're then going, oh, they're watching porn. They got the internet for 2 seconds, okay? Relax. They might not stop on porn, okay? They're watching it for now. Give them a beat. Jesus Christ. Who hasn't watched porn?
I know. I
and then the other thing
it's also hard not to watch porn on the internet. You click something wrong once and then it's right in your page.
Yeah.
I'm watching it right now.
A couple days ago, I was invited to a chat room full of ladies, okay? And I almost went. I didn't. But but yeah, it's kind of like I don't know if this is the thing, but it's sort of to like villain. I don't know who the intention is on, or like who they're trying to villainize with this article of like they're addicted to porn. Like who's the target in this piece to manipulate? Like who are they trying to? Oh, like these wild people. All they want to see is sex. Like, is that the messaging? And if that's the messaging, then listen, they were probably doing some freaky shit before they got porn. They're probably watching porn and being like, you know what?
This is light.
Well,
the thing is, the tribe is Orthodox. It's an Orthodox tribe.
What does that mean?
They're very conservative. They don't even do PDA.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's why the tribal leaders are like, you bring in this devil magic.
Oh,
and now
sex TV.
Yeah.
Where people hold hands and they suck face. Okay, redacted. But
it's also like
porn might not have been a good idea. My bad. Okay. It's like the Rumspringa, whatever the Mormons. The
Rungspringer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who has it?
Is Amish, not
Amish people.
Yeah, Amish.
There it is. Yeah. They get to go and be in the free country and see if they like it.
There was like a reality show about it.
Yeah.
It looked wild.
So maybe there's going to be this one in this group of people. I don't know how to feel about it. I'm not mad that they're watching porn, but I also understand that
it's not the only thing they're doing.
Yeah, contextually, 1, it's not the only thing they're doing. 2, again, what are the women doing? 3, what was the intention of letting them have their of giving them access?
Well, the guy who left the tribe to get more technology into the tribe, I think his name was Enoch, or anyway, he went and got a motorboat at one point, and that really helped them with fishing, cut down time and costs. Yeah.
And so he thought the internet was going to do what?
Who knows?
But boo-boo, parent lock. What? You just handed out all these phones? Just
it is so upsetting. I'm like,
Moo, look at me, okay? Get yourself a parental lock on these phones. You think I'm gonna hand my 2-year-old just some phone? He could just bloop. Like, first, I handed him the remote and he turned on a Spanish like telenovela, which he manages to do this every time. I don't know how he does it. Kids, they can get into stuff. So yeah, parental lock, huh?
Even with my parents' phones, every time I go to their house, I have to set up everything for them. And I'll be like, don't deviate away from, if you want free Korean dramas, you're going to use this janky ass website. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you can't click anything because you're going to get a virus and it's going to have a bunch of, and without fail, every time I go back to their house and I'm on their smart TV trying to figure out, it is porn site after porn site. And they're like, we didn't watch this. I was like, Mom, I know.
Yeah. It
I
just
know.
popped up.
It's you're going to use this site to get Korean dramas. You're going to get all this weird shit. And she's like, well, make sure the weird shit doesn't come up. And I was just like, I'm trying to teach you how to use it. And I have to come here every time to fix this for you. And that my mom the internet has been around her whole life. Not her whole life, but like the majority of her life. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess I can sympathize with the elders in the community who are like, this is just the beginning, right? Which that's more of the issue is like now there's like this pervasive westernized
theologies and stuff.
Yeah, that are going to enter our community without without them being able to catch up or to be able to respond in a way that, you know, can actually help the community or be a resource to the community. I don't know. It's fucked up that this lady just decided to drop this without consequence. But yeah, I just hope that it doesn't tear this ethnic group from within. But I also hope that they do get something out of it. It is nice to know that they're connected, kind of. I don't know. They
were saying some things, and they're like, you know, they're really obsessed with watching the soccer on the soccer and
the soccer.
So there's positives in it. So, but they're really harping on this one thing is that this Amazon tribe is addicted to porn once they got internet
soon as they got internet
access. And I'm like,
they were looking at dicks.
That's not the real story here, folks. You gotta look deeper. Okay, that's my current event gripe. Caucasia's gripe.
Okay. Now I have a game for Yang. This game is called What Race Performed This Crime?
Here's the thing. I have a feeling I'm going to know how to play this game, but I feel like I shouldn't play it in the way that I should.
Stop making whatever.
It's going to be all the white people.
You don't know that. Okay. Let's start. Crime number 1. These are just the headlines of crimes. She has to tell me who committed these crimes. Okay. Dozens of looters break into AutoZone store in South Los Angeles. Dozens of looters break into AutoZone store in South Los Angeles.
I don't like this game.
Caucasians.
I think I saw this. Was it like a bunch of white teens? Is it that one?
It's a bunch of teens, but I think it's mixed actually. I think it's like white and Hispanic.
Okay.
Yeah, from the video, from what I could see.
Yeah. I
was like, oh, okay, AutoZone.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
Here's the thing. I'm like,
uh-oh, she gets canceled. Jesus Christ.
This is your game?
Woo, this is my game. Okay. This woman went on social media to declare that she would not return her shopping cart when she's shopping out of fear that someone will take her kids.
White.
You saw this one?
Well, you said the moment you said this woman on social media. That's all I heard.
That's all you heard. Okay. YouTuber charged for having a helicopter blast a Lamborghini with fireworks, authorities say.
White boy.
Asian.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Florida woman charged with leaving her boyfriend to die in a suitcase faces October trial.
Say it again.
Florida woman charged with leaving her boyfriend to die in a suitcase faces October trial.
Leaves her boyfriend
in a suitcase.
In a suitcase?
Yes.
Her boyfriend's small enough to be in a suitcase? He's
already voted.
Black? Black woman? White woman?
White woman.
Okay.
A black woman put her boyfriend in a suitcase?
Here's the thing.
Who is this blow up man?
I was doing process elimination, Mexican, white, Asian.
See, you were trying to figure out a system.
I was trying
and
to
I don't
figure
do that.
Okay.
Mm.
I was like, how long is this?
She's like, how many more? Yeah, first of all, I was like, she's on trial for leaving him in the suitcase or putting him in there. I'm like, what's going on? Yeah, I was like, this is worded so... I was like, we have so many more questions, ma'am. How did he get in there? Not just, oh, I left him in there? Like, what? That's what she's on trial for? Leaving him in there? How did he get in there? Oh my God, she killed this man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's crazy.
And obviously, he's in pieces.
Right. She put this man in a suitcase and she's on trial for leaving him in it. Not for putting him in there.
Not murdering.
Not for killing him.
Yeah.
For leaving him in the suitcase.
On trial.
I was dead. Okay. White woman.
She's like, I didn't know.
She was like, what? He said he liked being in there.
Mm-hmm.
Fans sentenced to prison for racist insults directed at a soccer star in first of its kind conviction.
Wait, who is being convicted?
There are fans. There are 3 fans who are sentenced to 8 months in prison for racist insults directed at a soccer star in the first of its kind conviction.
Black?
The fans are black?
Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking who committed these crimes.
Why? I don't know. Okay.
They had Caucasian energy. I'm going to help you out. This happened in Spain.
Oh.
And it was a black athlete. Vinicius Jr. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I should have looked this up.
So white Spaniards.
But Spaniards.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. We did have this conversation about how just because you speak Spanish does not mean you're not white. But we might have to touch on that later because we're already at 62 minutes. Okay. I have 2 more, but we'll go over those next time. That was fun. You failed, but...
Here's the thing. I can't tell.
You didn't do great.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be good at it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
And isn't that the true
next
Caucasus?
I'll be asking the questions.
Okay.
Then you'll be answering them.
I will. All right.
And if you're accurate, then it's like, what do you get?
I don't know. I'm gonna make you we'll make pins. We'll make little Caucasus pins and maybe
who wins the Caucasus of the month? I love it.
Yeah.
I bet you, what if we should have a white guest on and then ask them?
Yeah, who committed this crime?
And they'll be so good at it. And we'll be like,
right. They just know.
Okay.
All right, let's wrap this up. Thanks for joining us on the Caucacity. This is our episode 5. We love you guys so much. We talked about so much. What did we talk about?
Your immigration story.
My
non-immigration story.
Yes, how you called the cops. Or no, your family called the cops because you were hiding.
I was hiding.
Mm-hmm.
All of the businesses that Koreans own.
Jesus Christ, her family has owned all of them.
All of them. Still poor. America. And now what? And then we talked about the Amazon tribe that got access to internet.
Oh, yes. And then you failed the thing.
And then I failed the
test.
Yeah.
The who committed this crime test.
I think Nthenya really enjoyed it.
I did really enjoy it.
She really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think we all here at the studio enjoyed it. That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And we talked about South Carolina.
Okay.
Beautiful. And also sometimes not.
I realized what the game of the game of it was, and I did fail.
She's catching up. All right. We thank you guys so much for being with us. Check us out next week. Subscribe, like, I don't know, share, you know the things. Bye.
Bye.